Hello, everyone. Today is April 11th. It's Tuesday. It's approximately 2:06 p.m. We are convening a session of the Tax Review Board. Please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. This recording will be posted on the Tax Review Board website. At this time, I'm going to hand over the board to our chair, Nancy Cameradiner, who is joined by Dominique Ward and Paula Weiss, board members. Nancy.
Thank you, Melissa. Good afternoon, everyone. The Tax Review Board hearing for April 11th, 2023 will come to order. We have two items on the agenda for today that are not going to be heard. The first of those is item number 1 for Manayunk Renaissance LLC. That matter has been continued and is going to be rescheduled at a later date. And item number 3 for Derek Marshall, last 4 digits of the docket 2037, has been withdrawn. So we are turning now to case number 4 for 75 Benia. I believe I'm saying that correctly, at 3036 North Warnock Street, last 4 digits of the docket 1183. And I believe they are in the room or getting settled in at this moment.
Nancy, he's in the room.
I am in the room.
Okay, thank you. Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is David Subransing, and I do business as 75.
I'm going to ask that you try to be as close to the mic as possible, and it's at the at the computer. And when you're speaking, to speak into it or loudly and distinctly, if you can. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Who has this matter for the city?
If the board pleases, the city, I'm representing the city today, Kareem Saifuddin of the City Law Department. Ms. Taliba Hike will be witness for the Water Revenue Bureau. I do have an additional witness, Mr. Dybowski of the meter shop, who I did give the information to. There he is.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go with Ms. Hike first. Please identify yourself for the record.
Taliba Hike, Water Revenue Bureau Adjudications Unit.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Dubowski?
He's still connecting.
He's still connected.
Connecting to the audio, but I guess we can start and then you can swear Mr. Dybowski.
Sure. Right, when he actually is going to come on. Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I get the witness, the petitioner, to spell his name for me, please?
That's me? Yeah.
Yes.
Subransingh. David is the first name, David.
Okay, thank you. Could we have the numbers for the record, please?
Yes, ma'am. The petitioner is questioning the period of December 3rd, 2018 through August 2nd, 2019. Principal amount of $12,608.71. There's $983.70 in penalties. There is $173.61 in liens, totaling $13,766.02.
I'm sorry, Taliba, can you give me the principal one more time?
Yes, no problem. $983.70.
I'm sorry,
the principal.
yeah.
The principal?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm sorry, $12,608.71.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the city have any opening comments or should we just be turning to the petitioner?
Yes, briefly, I have a short narrative of what I understand the case to be about based on Mr. Subransingh's filings and his correspondence with myself and with my predecessor, Ms. Lavery. The petitioner challenges high readings during the period December 3rd, 2018 through August 2nd, 2019 at a property alleged to be vacant at that time. The readings from December 2018 through the end of July 2019 are all actual and progressive. There is a claim that the property was vacant, but that does not exclude the possibility of high usage, as leaks are always possible. And in particular, the city would emphasize that the fact that the period of high usage started in December is significant, as pipe breaks in vacant properties are quite common in the wintertime. I believe that's common knowledge, especially to this board. Moreover, that there was some usage in the property is beyond any reasonable dispute, because a meter cannot register in advance unless some water is passing through it. That is to say, the fact that we were receiving actual readings at all means that the board would be completely unjustified in reducing usage to zero. But I don't expect that you would. I should also state that water problems continued at the property after the filing of the petition. The petition was filed in, I believe, August or September of 2019, September 25th, 2019. And the city has no objection to the board's consideration of matters between the filing of the petition on September 25th of 2019 and the date of the first meter service after that date on February 14th, 2020, as those would seem to be related to the same set of core facts and the same water problem for matters that, for reasons that will become clear after Mr. Dybelski's testimony. However, the meter was changed completely on February 14th, 2020. So any problems arising after that date are not connected with the meter installed in the property as of the petition date. And to the extent that the petitioner wants to challenge usage dating from after February 14th, 2020, he should file a separate petition. And the city would object to any consideration of matters after February 14th, 2020 to be outside the scope of the petition.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn then to the petitioner. Please tell us why you're here and what it is you're looking for from this board.
I am here because the water meter was malfunctioning. When I got the property in 2018, I left the property vacant for a while, but I went in there and secured the property. And I was clearing, and it took me almost a year later to get the property cleaned. When I completely cleaned, when I finished cleaning the property, I noticed the meter was missing. Upon that, I called the Water Bureau, and they sent me to the water meter department. And the only thing I was told, I kept calling though, I kept calling several other individuals at the water department to try and correct why this water bill was, and another thing was the bill was being sent to the wrong, incorrect address. When I do see the bill, I was totally shocked because the amount that I'm anticipating to pay was at least $450 or $100 per year. That's the average bill. So I was completely shocked to see this incident with the water bill extremely high. At no time I was in that property using water because the property is unable is unlivable. And I well secured the property, and I know you said December, but there was no water usage in that property. As a matter of fact, when I went in there, I have another property. I would bring water by the buckets in a van to do any work I needed to do there, to clean up myself.
Could you tell us what kind of property this is, size, and some idea of what kind of property this is?
It's a townhouse.
And had anyone been living there when you acquired it, or was it a vacant property?
It was a vacant property, and I was misinformed by the sheriff department. They told me I needed, before I started to do anything, I needed 3 or 4 months, and I have to wait until I get a deed. But I didn't get any deed or no documents until about 6 months after.
You bought this at a sheriff's sale then?
Yes.
If the board pleases, the sheriff's deed was submitted with the city's production yesterday.
I'm sorry, say that again?
if the board pleases, the sheriff's deed was submitted with the city's production yesterday. It can refer to it as background evidence.
Okay, I know I haven't seen the material you're referencing because I didn't see anything that came yesterday. Did you get something, Melissa?
Yeah, I attached it to the email I sent you with the agenda.
Oh, okay, my apologies that I looked through things and I didn't see that. Okay, my error here. Okay, do you have anything else to add in terms of your testimony as the petitioner?
Yes, I did a lot of research on the high bills in North Philadelphia. And when I did my research, I found that there was the deputy director, Mrs. Crosby. There were meters, people were getting water bills up in the thousands. And
I'm going to object to this as hearsay and
no, it's not
object to the
hearsay.
relevance.
It's not hearsay. It's I found this in the Inquirer. It's from the CBS newspaper, news, and it shows that this has been happening. The default meter was happening long before. So I had just happened to get into that situation 1 year earlier.
Again, I'm going to object to that as hearsay
It's not hearsay, sir.
and not relevant. There's not absolutely nothing about that suggests that that's what's occurring
Okay.
in this property.
The
So
bottom
noted,
line-
so noted, Mr. Serpent.
The bottom line is, excuse me, I didn't use any water. The place was secured. I did notice some pipes was missing. When I eventually cleaned out the place, and that's when I called the water meter. When I called the water meter, they put the meter upside down. So the reading was, I keep calling the Water Bureau department to inquire why is my bill high. They kept referring me to other departments. This happened for almost a year.
You stated that at some point when you were in the property, there was no meter. Is that correct?
After I done clean the entire property, I had no need to use any water there. Then I started looking for the meter, and then after a few months after I started looking for the meter, I can't find it. I called the
You know approximately when that was? What month that might have been?
I didn't get into the property until the end of April
What year was that?
2019.
So, okay, so you acquired this property in October of 2018, right?
Yes.
When is the first time you went to visit the property? Was it in April or was it prior to that?
I went prior to April,
Mhm.
and to secure the property, because I knew I wasn't going to go there and do any work because I didn't have any money to do any repairs. And that's when
Okay. So you went in before April. So after you got the property in October 2018, you stopped by the property, you said you secured it.
yes.
Did you notice there was a water meter missing at that time or no?
The place there was too much, there was just too much rubbish in the spot, in the basement. There was no way I could have gone in there.
Okay, and did you pay any type of bill or receive anything regarding a water bill during that time frame from October to April?
No.
Okay. All right, I don't have any additional questions.
If
Paula? Any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay, all right, let's turn to the city then for any presentations or questions they might have.
yes, first I'd like to cross-examine Mr. Subran Singh.
Go right ahead.
Just for the record, so Benia 75 LLC owns 3036 North Warnock Street, correct?
Yes.
And you own Benia 75 LLC, correct?
Yes.
Do you own Benia 75 alone, or do you have partners with an equity stake in the company?
I own it alone.
This property is a single-family row home, correct?
Yes.
And
But wait a minute.
Sir, I am asking you questions.
I'm
Okay.
telling you, it says townhouse in when I do the search.
Okay, whatever. If you do not reside there, correct?
No,
For the record, you say you had no tenants in the property, correct?
no.
Were there any squatters in the property?
There's a squatter now.
But was there in 2018, 19, or early 2020?
No,
Okay. Do you have any other utility bills like power or gas with you on hand to show that there was no usage during that period?
no, there's no utility bills in that property. No,
Okay.
no lights, no gas, nothing.
Mhm. Did you have a plumber inspect the property for leaks?
No,
Okay. I'd like to establish a quick survey of the property's water usage with some quick questions about its fixtures. How many bathrooms in the property?
there is 2 bathroom. Say that again, please.
I was just asking how many. Each bathroom has a toilet and a faucet, correct?
There's only one bathroom with a toilet and a faucet.
Okay, so, excuse me, you said there are 2 bathrooms?
No, only one.
Only one bathroom. So,
Yes.
and does it have a shower as well?
Yes, it has a shower.
Does the property have a kitchen?
Yes,
Okay, and the kitchen has a faucet, correct?
yes.
Okay. That concludes my cross-examination of Mr. Subran Singh. I now call Mr. Dybowski, who I believe needs to be sworn.
Okay, yes, he does. Mr. Dabowski, please identify yourself for the record.
Sure, Andrew J. Dybowski, System Manager, Philadelphia Water Department Meter Division.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead with your questions.
Thank you. Mr. Dybowski, where do you work?
Philadelphia Water Department Meter Division, to be specific.
And how long have you worked at PWD?
God willing, June will be 30 years.
Congratulations. And what positions have you held with the PWD meter shop?
Basically everything from an entry-level residential service worker, commercial service worker, assistant manager I am right now. I was a supervisor. I've done everything from testing, repair, installation, residential, commercial, you name it. I've had experience completing, working, and doing it.
And what is your job title today?
Assistant manager.
And what are your responsibilities in that position?
Presently, it's overseeing the commercial aspect of our installation and repair, testing, as well as new construction permitting and things like that related to new construction.
And what are the responsibilities of representatives that you supervise, since you're a supervisor?
Basically, besides keeping them in line, is to do the daily monitoring of work that's done residentially, commercially, in relation to new construction and anything related to the installation, repair, commercial meters.
Okay. Now, in your previous roles, did you ever personally install water meters?
Yes,
How often?
for the first 25 years of my career, roughly.
And did you receive training to do your jobs at PWD?
Yes,
Did your training include information about the way water meters work currently installed and serviced by the Philadelphia Water Department work?
yes,
Did your training include information about the parts of water meters installed and serviced by the water department and the functions of those parts?
yes. It's an on-job training thing. Nobody comes in knowing really how a water meter operates. It's all on-job training from installation, how it's manufactured, repaired, installed, etc.
And are you familiar with all of the models of water meters that PWD installs and services today?
Yes,
You know, I don't think I know I know that we often, to the board, we often go through a run through of ERTs and meters and the various parts, but I don't think we need that today under the particular facts. But one important part that I would like to go to is if I will give a brief run through. If Mr. Dybowski can indulge me, can you just briefly state what the parts of a residential meter assembly are, such as the one that would be installed in the property like this?
residential meter assembly has 2 parts. It has the brass body, which is the vessel that the water actually travels through, has a registering device on top that has the digital dial or whatever it may be, that displays the reading on it, and the sending unit that sends the reading to the reader van once a month.
Okay, that's three parts. Can you clarify why you said there's two?
Okay, the register and the sending unit are all one hermetically sealed unit.
Okay, so they're, to clarify, they are treated as one because they can't be separated, but they are actually functionally different parts. Is that what I'm understanding from you?
Yes,
Okay. Now, the meter body, is it, or what, is it a mechanical or electronic device?
that is a mechanical device.
And can it advance the register without any water running through it?
No,
And the sending unit, can it send a reading from the register unless, can it send a reading from the register unless the register has been advanced?
no,
Okay. Now, and one last thing, can you take a reading from the register without the transmitter?
no. But you could physically, you could, yes.
Okay.
But it would not be electronic read, it would be a physical read.
Okay. So to sum up, is it possible for the transmitter to send readings indicating non-zero actual usage in a property when the actual amount of usage in that property was zero?
Yes.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, explain, ask that again.
So to sum up, is it possible for the transmitter to send readings indicating non-zero, that is greater than zero actual usage, when the
Okay.
actual amount of usage was zero?
No,
Okay. So if there are readings, then there is usage.
correct.
Okay. Now, one quick point, are you familiar with the various causes of excess usage potentially in a property from your 30 years of experience?
Yes,
Can you run down various ways that readings can be extremely high, even in a residential property?
the most common one is a running toilet. Also, there's also leaks that if the pipe goes up through a wall or something like that, and it's not visible, it can leak behind a wall. But 90% of the time, it is a toilet or a leaking faucet or something.
Mhm. Now, if a property is vacant, does that create any particular vulnerabilities to leaks?
Rephrase it, I'm not particularly understanding that.
So if a property is vacant, and in particular, if a property doesn't have heat in the winter time, does that make it more prone to certain kinds of leaks?
Oh, absolutely, yes. The water meter must be kept in a heated environment. It's got to be someplace that has warmth, that keeps it above freezing. Below freezing temperatures without moving water in that water meter or the lines in the property will freeze and break.
Mhm. And if lines in a property freeze and break, can that cause high usage readings on the meter?
Absolutely, yes.
And does that necessarily indicate anything wrong with the meter?
No,
Assuming
no,
the break was not in the meter itself.
no, that's what the meter's there for. If there is a break or something like that, it'll be detected within the meter.
Mhm. And actually, if the water freezes inside a meter, and then the meter body breaks, will that read to a high usage or zero usage reading?
That'll come out as a zero usage.
Okay. Now, did your training include information about PWD's policies and procedures relating to the installation and repair of water meters?
Yes,
Does the water department have regular policies and procedures about what to do when you install or change a meter?
yes, we do.
Does the water department have regular policies and procedures about making written records when a technician or other representative installs or services a meter?
Yes, we do.
And what is that policy or procedure? At least
Okay.
as of February 14th, 2020.
Okay, we take a written document, fill it out of what we find as a reading meter, sending unit, et cetera, in the property as a written document. And that is saved.
Okay.
And the second part was,
I haven't gotten to that question. So Does the water department have regular policies and procedures about making photographic records when a technician or other representative installs or services a meter?
Yes, we do. Yes.
And what is that policy or procedure?
The policy is to get a photograph of what you find directly in front of the meter, a picture of it itself upon arrival into the property before servicing or whatever, and one upon completion, whether you service it, replace it, repair it, whatever it may be.
Does the water department have a system to keep track of these written and photographic meter work records?
Yes, we do.
What is that system?
This system we have that keeps the records called Slinky.
And is that a paper or electronic system?
That's an electronic system.
And how often do you use Slinky in the course of your work as a supervisor?
It stays open on my desktop all day long. It's
Okay.
commonly used.
Now, based on this testimony, I ask that the witness Andrew J. Dybowski be recognized as custodian of records for the Philadelphia Water Department Meter Division. And I will bring out some documentation for Mr. Dybowski to review by screen share, if the board will indulge me. First, need to actually open the relevant item. Okay, Mr. Dybowski, can you, this is a document with 2 pages. I'm going to briefly land on the first page and then on the second, and to allow you to review.
I can see it. Okay. See number 2 as well.
Okay, do you recognize these documents?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
All right, number 2 of 2 there is an MROC card, we call it. That is the handwritten document. Excuse me, that the service worker fills out upon entry into a property to service or repair a water meter.
Mhm. And the first document?
That is the digital download that is compared to the handwritten document we previously seen that is entered electronically into a tablet while a service worker completes the work order at the property.
Thank you. Where did the information in this document come from?
It came from ServiceLink, which is also related to the Slinky system I mentioned earlier. This is a history keeper and a log keeper of all information, more detailed about an installation or a repair of a certain property, as opposed to the previous system, Slinky, I had mentioned.
Okay. So would you call ServiceLink and Slinky interrelated systems?
Yes,
Okay. Does the water department make and keep these records as part of its regularly conducted business?
absolutely, yes.
Okay, so based on this testimony, I move these into evidence as City 1. And I can mark that if the board likes, but these are also both contained in the production. It's up to you, Melissa, honestly, what you'd rather I do.
What do you mean?
They're already in the production, but they're not marked. Do
Oh,
you want me to forward a different marked version, or are you just going to mark them yourself?
I can, if you could forward me the marked version, that would be fine.
Very well. All right, I'll
Mhm.
exit actually, I can't exit the share right
Mr.
now.
Safety,
But
right,
once I
right,
exit the
before you
share,
do that, are you finished asking questions about this?
not quite yet. I still have to ask Mr. Dybowski a few more questions.
Right,
Just a
'cause I have a question. Go ahead.
Okay, so based on these documents, did a water department representative go to this property at 3036 North Warnock Street on February 14th, 2020?
Yes,
Which one?
service worker 986. We have. a
And how do you
three-digit
know?
code. It gives the bottom left-hand corner of that document as a driver crew number. It's a one-man crew. And I can tell by the number on there who was there.
Now, is FSR 986 still
I'm in a poor hearing.
is it only for a little longer?
And I'm sorry.
It's okay. if FSR 986 still employed by the meter shop?
No, he's no longer with the meter shop. He is within another unit within the water department.
Okay. Were you ever 986's supervisor?
Yes.
Why did they go to the property that day?
It was either an intake call came from the resident or it came off of list of properties that we received from the Water Revenue Bureau that have what we call zero usage, have not received a reading electronically after X amount of months. It generates a work order for us to go and visit the property.
Mhm. What did 986 find that day, according to these documents?
He found that there was no meter at the property and he installed one.
Okay. Did they do any other meter work other than the install?
No, that was it.
Okay. Did they take any photos, to your knowledge, of the meter assembly on that date?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna pull the photos. And share. And I'm marking the photos as city two. And it's just the photos, the single page that we marked as city two. Are these the photos in question?
Yeah, that is a new meter installed, and what we have at the photo below is the location where the existing meter should have been installed.
And how do you know this is the right meter?
You can compare the number on the top of that there with what the handwritten document is from the service worker, as well as the digital download. And you can also GPS that device based off of that number.
Okay. And based on that information, I move city two into evidence. That concludes my direct examination of Mr. Dybowski.
Oh, okay. Do any board members have questions?
Not at this time.
Unless Mr. Subran Singh has cross of Mr. Dybowski, I have a few questions for Ms. Hike.
Oh, okay, please turn to that then.
You're sure you don't want to ask Mr. Dybowski any questions, Mr. Subran Singh?
I am totally dumbfounded about any kind of plumbing, so I really don't know anything about a meter or water pipes, nothing. When I need a plumber, I hire a plumber. So I
understand, sir.
I have no kind, whatever he's talking there is like a completely new book to me. So I can't ask many questions about that.
Okay.
I understand, sir. This is
Yeah,
quite technical.
I think we all have some understanding of that because we've been in that position from time to time.
So with that said, I guess I'll move on to Ms. Hike. Ms. Hike, have you had a chance to review this customer's account?
Yes,
And according to basis, what kind of property is 3036 North Warnock Street?
it's a residential property.
Can
And-
you speak up a little bit?
It's a
Closer to the
residential.
mic?
Can you hear me now?
Better.
Yes.
Okay, it's a residential property.
And what's its type code actually in basis, just while we're being complete here?
Installation type 11, which means it's a residential property.
Okay. Is that single or multifamily?
Single,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Where are bills being sent for this account right now?
being sent to an off-site address.
What address is that?
8201 7th Avenue, Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Has there been any actual usage in the property for the last 6 months?
Yes,
Okay. What charges appeared on the bill for this property during the period from December 3rd, 2018 through August 3rd, 2019?
stormwater service and usage,
Were the usage readings actual or estimated?
actual.
Actually, and in light of that, would you mind pulling up basis to the reading history screen
Mhm.
and scrolling to the readings from December 3rd
Of what year?
of 2018?
Here we are.
Mhm.
December 2nd.
Okay, December 2nd, excuse me. So if you could please explain what this means that there were zero readings from zero advances, I should say, from September through December, and then all of a sudden in January, there's a new read.
It looks like the last actual reading here was on August 30th, 2018. And from the 31st.
Last actual read or last progressive read?
Well,
Last
let's say last progressive read, because the 3 readings following is actual as well. It's just zero usage. But the last progressive reading was on August 30th, 2018. So from that date going forward up until December 2nd, 2018, there was zero usage there.
and going up through to July of 2019.
July, okay.
Are all the readings actual
Yes,
and are all of them progressive?
yes.
Thank you. Did technicians go out to this property between December 3rd, 2018 and August 3rd, 2019?
Give me a second. Let me stop the sharing. I'm sorry.
Did technicians perform any meter work at this property between December 3rd, 2018 and August 3rd, 2019?
Yes.
Did they perform any meter work during those dates? I'm sorry if I wasn't clear.
Okay, no, so no, they didn't go out. They didn't go out between December 3rd and December 3rd, 2018 and August 3rd, 2019. No, they didn't go
Okay.
out then.
All right. Did they go out after August 3rd, 2019?
Yes,
And when did they go?
February 14th, 2020.
Are there any other visits between August 3rd, 2019 and February 14th, 2020?
No,
Did the visit of February 14th, 2020 result in any billing changes or adjustments?
no.
And could you please describe the payment history on this account?
It looks like they paid pretty sporadic. The last payment was on April 4th, 2013, so they pay sporadically.
Thank you. And that concludes my direct examination of Ms. Hike. If the board or Mr. Subran Singh have questions of Ms. Hike, I invite them now.
I would like to jump in here, Ms. Hike. Could we go back and look at the usage again? I'd like to see the usage the readings between July of 18 and July of 19 and February of 20 when was it a new meter and ERT or just a new meter?
New meter.
It was a new meter,
So
and
there was no meter.
there was
in
a meter.
February
There
of
was no meter. There was a missing meter in the
Missing meter.
property when the technicians came out on February 14, 2020. Yeah, and when
Yeah.
they got there, they had to install a new meter and into the property on February 14, 2020.
Thank you. So could we see that document again, just to see the readings between August of 19 and February of 20?
Okay.
Thank you. So. Okay, so 2/14/20 is when the new meter was put in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then for all of the months before that, 11/1/19, I don't see a December, but 11/1/19, 7. So there were not.
I think there may have been some reverse billing.
About these
Can you show that?
But it looks like from July 30th, 2019 to November 1st, 2019, there's a gap.
Yeah, exactly.
From July, when you said? July,
30th,
30th?
2019.
okay, from July 30th, 2019, yes, to 11/1/19.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
dates are there, but
basically
there are no
we-
readings shown in between.
There's no readings. There's no actual readings.
No, there was no
between-
actual readings, and those readings were reversed. It looks like.
So
there was a
these are estimates.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and which ones are estimates, if you can tell us?
From 7/30/19. Looks like through 11/1/19.
11 what?
11/1/19.
11/1/19, okay. So,
Based-
and so that, during that period, there were no actual readings.
No,
And these estimates are all over the map, from as low as 15 to as high as 562.
what do you mean?
If the board pleases, I would draw your attention to the fact that there are gaps of several months.
Months.
So while yes, that is a high estimate, it's not 500. It's probably an estimate of like 100 or 200 a month when you look at like end of July through beginning of November, and beginning of November to middle of February.
So I
So
guess,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, so I guess the question I have is if these are estimates from July 2019 to November 2019, and a meter doesn't get installed until February 2020, citing the fact there's no meter there. Are we saying there was a meter in November of 2019? Because I don't see any readings for December or
I think
January.
the city's position is that the meter disappeared around end of July 2019, excuse me.
Okay, then so what is this reading that we have for November 2019? If the city's position is that the meter disappeared in July?
Theoretically, estimates should have been issued every month, but sometimes Basis does funny things when there's no meter in the property, especially when an active dispute is raised. And Mr. Subran Singh did file his dispute, the petition in this matter, in September of 2019.
Okay.
It is actually, Taliba, can you show the reversed and deleted
Yeah, when they reversed the bill, those readings.
in the reading history?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me go back to the readings and go into it.
Mhm. I think this will show somewhat more normal. Actually, you just need to, just click include reversed and include deleted up top,
Okay,
as you did before, yeah.
right, and which date are they
I-
interested in?
And include deleted as well.
Which date are they interested in?
In the period July of 19 through February of 20. As you'll see, there are several, scroll up further. As you can see, there are, keep scrolling up until you hit February of 20. Like there are estimated reads that were deleted. Probably because there was an active dispute. That is more of an accounting function that's outside of both Taliba's expertise and Mr. Diabalski's. But I did not want to bring an accounting witness today because I think the important thing is that estimated reads start on July 30th of 2019. Up until July 27th of 2019, the readings were actual and progressive. And then from then on, we were not receiving any actual readings from the meter. So
Hold
it
on,
stands
so
to reason-
so you're saying there were actual readings from January 2019 to July 2019?
Yes. Covering,
And those were
Yeah.
actual progressive readings from January
Ex-
2019 to July?
exactly. And they suddenly stop in July of 2019.
Okay.
If I may, what Basis shows is readings that were billed. And there seems to have been some kind of a billing issue. But like when it comes to the actual reads, the story they tell is very clear. There was actual readings up until July 27th of 19, and then there were no readings, so we estimated up until February of 2020.
Well, I have spoken to several Philadelphia Water Department individuals during this time, especially during the 128 to the 214, where the bill was extremely high. And they kept telling me, and I spoke to people, individuals who work for the Water Department Bureau who are very, very thorough with me. They spend like an hour and a half speaking to me and trying to explain to me. And they kept saying this is just an estimate. So if the property is secure and there's no meter, you're baffling me, Mr. Caribbean.
I'm saying, Mr. Subronsing, if I may address, if the board may allow me to address him and explain, is that the estimates started in July of 2019. Up until that point, all the readings were actual.
January 19th, January 28th.
July of 2019. From January to July of 2019, all the readings are actual and all that usage was real. And that's the usage that you challenged in your petition.
The readings that are up there go back and forth.
If Miss Hike can scroll down to the period going from January of 19 through July, the board can see that up until the reading on July 30th of 2019, which for some reason was conducted for only 3 days after the reading on July 27th, all the readings up to that time are actual.
But then there's a second reading from July 30th, 19 that is lower than the first one from that date.
They deleted it.
It was deleted. And this is very clearly what happened here is that the meter disappeared at the end of July of 2019.
Can we see the readings once the new meter was put in?
Yes.
And those are actuals.
Yes.
Again, it's entirely possible. And I would put this in my closing if the board allows it. But it's entirely possible that, that whatever leak or what have you was causing the high usage before July of 19 was fixed before the meter shop gained access to the property. Was that 6 months later?
Well, but that's speculation. I mean,
Well, so is sex, but if I may, it's also speculation that the meter was malfunctioning because the property was under the petitioner's control at the time the meter disappeared. And by his admission, he gained access to the property in April of 2019. And, we had no opportunity to test the meter to determine if there was a malfunction. And so the proper inference is against the petitioner.
Yeah, but it was a sheriff's sale, so you had more than enough time prior to the actual sale back in October to determine whether the meter was working or not. It wasn't a private sale.
It wasn't a private sale, but it was a tax sale, not a water sale. And
True, but the city at any time could have gone in the property, whether it's tax or water, and been able to test the meter. You guys typically don't do that, but you had the opportunity during that time before it was transferred to him through the sheriff's sale in October. So I don't think that argument would hold weight either.
well, either way, it's speculation on either side, which leaves only the fact of actual reads. And the fact that the high readings began in the wintertime, which is entirely concordant with the pipe break.
There was no pipe break.
So your position is that he repaired the pipe break prior to
There was no pipe break.
installing the new meter in February of 2020.
That is correct.
Okay.
No, there wasn't any pipe breaking in there.
Did you have a plumber there at all in that time range?
No, I never had a plumber there.
Ever?
No. I had a mason there. That's the only person I had there. And he was cleaning as well.
Did you say Mason?
Yes.
Did he do any work in the area of the water meter?
No. I was, as I said, I was bringing the buckets of water. I didn't know there was water there because I never even opened the valves to see if there was water there. I wasn't even aware. And I was bringing water from another property there to use, to clean myself.
You didn't think that there was any active water service in the property?
Exactly. And I never used water there because I was bringing gallons and gallons of water with a truck to that property.
And how long did you do that? Approximately what time range was it?
I did that for whilst I was cleaning from April, but going forward.
April of 19?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for the petitioner?
None from the city.
None from the city, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. I was actually addressing that to my board, but I appreciate your speaking up on it, so we know not to come back to you for any. Board members, are you ready to step back, or do you have other questions?
I have no further questions.
I have no further questions.
Okay, we're going to step aside and see if we can reach a decision regarding this matter. Everyone else can stay put. We're going to go to a back room electronically.
Okay, Nancy, everyone is back.
Okay, fine, thank
Counsel
you.
for the city on?
Yes, he's here. Mr.
Okay.
Cleve? I mean, Mr. Davis?
The board has a few questions of one of the city witnesses. If we could have Ms. Heik participate, and we may move on to some others with questions, but I'm going to turn to my other board members who in our discussions had some specific questions they wanted to ask.
Sure. So I'm looking at the city's exhibit that outlines the account history. It's not marked, so I can't direct you clearly to it. So apologies for that.
No
But
problem.
what I will do is share my screen. We're gonna do some different stuff today, change it up, is right here. So Ms. Heik, could you give us some background regarding this August 18th reading for 8,000? Is this an actual or estimate reading?
August 18th, let's see.
I'm not August 18th, excuse me, August 30th, 2018. Sorry, girl, you know, just a little rough. Had to get the blood sugar up. Apologies. August 30th, 2018.
All right, let me see, August 30th. See if I can go down a little further.
What's showing is a meter reading of 104,900 and consumption of
That's
8,000.
actual usage.
So that is actual.
Yes.
Okay.
If I might do something that might guide the board. Ms. Heik, on this sheet, on a sheet of this kind, how would an estimated usage reading be shown or an estimated usage bill be shown?
Well, right here where the meter reading is, where you see in the column of meter reading after the numbers,
Okay.
after the last number, there'll be an indication of the estimated readings. It'll be an E there.
Okay.
And as you can see down here, I think somewhere else, there's your February.
2020.
I think it's that's not estimated though, but yeah, it'll show that it's estimated.
Well, then can you explain the December 2nd, 2018 reading?
Yes, could you give me 1 second, please? I'm sorry, I have to punch out. Give me 1 second, all right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, yes. I'm back, I'm sorry, thank you.
No worries. So the question was regarding the December 2018, December 2nd, 2018, and the consumption being 0 for 3 months. Could you explain that?
And it looks like the meter hasn't moved.
No, yes, so from that point on, after August 30th, 2018, there was no actual usage in the property for 3 months. They didn't get another actual, well, I'm gonna say progressive reading until January 2nd, 2019. So for those 3 months there, where you see the number of months is 3, for those 3 months, there was 0 usage in the property.
Okay, so that means that you got meter readings that were 0 for those respective 3 months.
Yes.
All right, that's all I had.
Okay, I thought you had another question. Okay, but that answered yours.
Thank you.
Paula, did you also have a question?
No, I had no other question.
Okay.
Is
Do
it
we need
okay
to
to go back?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll be back to you again. Sorry about the delay.
I want to interject there 1 minute. When I had mentioned to you, Ms. Kamaya, I began working on the property in April 2020 because I had just returned from Trinidad in February, just before the COVID time, in February 2000, I was in Trinidad in 2019. So I made a mistake with that timeline when I told you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to step back and see if we can complete our discussion on a decision. Thank you.
Sorry, I had opened them.
Just for clarification, David, were you talking to Ms. Kammerdiener, the chairperson?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. No,
Okay.
that's okay. I just didn't hear it correctly.
No.
So,
Nancy, everyone is back.
Okay, I am going to concede to Melissa to summarize our decision because we went back and forth on a couple of things and I think she got the full notes on it. Am I correct on that?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I usually don't read in the board's decision, but it got a little complicated.
Right,
So for the period of 12/3/18 to 8/2/19, the board will abate 100% of the penalty. For the period that was amended and agreed to by the parties, the board will mark it as zero usage from 8/19 to 2/20 when the new meter was installed. The board also wants to note that for that initial period of 12/3/18 to 8/2/19, there was actual usage. Does the board, and payments to be made within 30 days of the adjusted bill.
So Melissa, the period of 8/2/19 through 2/14/20, where were you rebilling that at?
At zero usage.
Okay, so from 12/3/18 through 2/14/20, zero use.
8/19.
We're splitting it up.
Are you splitting it up? We'll split 12/3/18 to 8/2/19 at zero?
No.
Start again.
12/3.
that was why I asked
Over,
her to,
over.
mediate here for us.
All right,
12/3/18 to 8/2/19, the board finds that there was actual usage and only abates the penalty.
okay,
For the period of 8/19 to 2/14/20, the board finds that there was no meter and therefore zero usage.
got it, got it. So we just abating the penalties from 18 to 19.
Correct.
All right,
Melissa, could you repeat that again, please?
Of course. For the period of 12/3/18 to 8/2/19, the board abates the penalties 100%. For the period of 8/19 to 2/14/20, the board finds that there was no meter and zero usage, so the bill should be rebilled at zero usage.
If I may, Mr. Subran Singh, all the estimated bills are being reversed. All
Correct.
penalty is being waived. All actual bills are remain in place.
Thank you for the clarity.
that's 30 days, you said, Melissa?
Correct.
Okay,
Basically,
Thank
you'll get a
you.
letter from us that spells out our decision. Both sides do have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of our letter. Going to assume for the moment that neither side is going to choose to appeal. And if that proves to be the case, then by the end of that 30-day period, the petitioner should be in touch with the city in terms of any payment arrangements that need to be put into place.
Madam Nancy Kademaya, I am unemployed at the moment and I would like to get a payment plan.
Well, that's basically what I was suggesting, only I didn't go one step further, and thank you for reminding me. If you're sitting with the city in terms of payment arrangements, part of what you would be negotiating in that would be the time period that would be used for the payment and how much you would be paying.
And if
at
I get a
different
job
points.
and I'm making enough money, then I could probably pay it off at one time.
Right, but basically what you would negotiate at that time would be the payment arrangements that you can afford to keep, because it's important that you maintain those
Maintain it.
payment
Thank you.
arrangements, or whatever was left could come back on the record and maybe be even more of a problem. So you have the right approach on it in terms of negotiating something that you can handle.
I apologize. I meant to say payment arrangements. So whatever you can work out with the city. I think I just said payment, so I apologize.
You'll have 30 days from the date of the adjusted bill to enter into payment arrangements with the city for the balance. And this is Paula Weiss, I concur.
30 days from the time I got the letter? Or from today?
30 days from when you get the letter, you have time, you could either appeal to the court if you choose to do that. But if you don't choose to do that, then by the end of that 30-day period, and that period starts from when
That's not what he
you
was
get our
asking.
letter.
Nancy, that's not what he was asking. He
Oh,
was
I'm
asking
sorry.
about 30 days from the adjusted bill from the water department. So
Oh,
you
okay.
get a bill from us.
My apologies. I was on the
From
wrong.
from the time I got the bill, I mean, from the time I get the letter, right?
Just listen.
Mhm.
You'll get a letter from us. It's gonna restate this decision.
Right.
At that point, the water department, a water revenue will adjust your account for our decision. You'll have 30 days from the time that they send you a bill to get yourself into payment installments.
Okay.
They're going to
waiting-
send you a new bill with the new numbers. And then you take that bill and you go into the Water Revenue Bureau and you set up a payment plan.
Okay.
Mr. Subran Singh, you have my contact information. Once you have the adjusted bill, you can contact me directly.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry about the confusion there.
And
Thank you very much. That's it for today, unless there's
Mhm.
something that anyone else knows about that I don't.
We have another case,
And should-
Nancy.
Right, I know that. I mean, in terms of dismissing this petitioner.
Dominic Ward concurs, Nancy
thank you.
concur.
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
thought I did. Maybe I didn't, but I'll do it
No,
again.
Nancy, you need to concur. Thank you.
Nancy, do you concur? The court
Yeah,
report.
oh, yes, I thought I said it then on the course there. My apologies.
All right.
If I may stress one more thing to the petitioner, I am actually, I have a strong working relationship with a firm I believe has represented you in the past, the firm of Grifo and Chung. So if your resources do extend by the time you receive the bill to be able to retain counsel, I've worked with both Paul and especially with Rosario before, and we've come up with very favorable deals in the past. So you can feel confident.
I
Thank you.
didn't get that, so.
I understand that in the past you were represented by Grifo and Chung, and I understand that you currently can't afford their services. But by the time you get the bill, if you know you have that job you were talking about, or good things have come your way, please know that I have a strong working relationship with both of those attorneys, Mr. Paul Chung and Mr. Rosario Grifo, and I've worked. I can't even out how many deals in the past through them.
But you need not have legal representation in order to come to a decision on a plan.
That's correct. But if he does, I know the attorneys he would hire, and he should rest assured that would be a favorable deal.
Okay, fine. Thank you. And that's it for today. We thank you for coming in.
All right, and we have our next case number 2, correct?
Yes,
Right.
I'm putting them in.
I was just waiting for the petitioner to head out to introduce item number 2. It's for Mukhtar Curtis, last 4 digits of the docket 1985. Property address is 2031 Church Lane.
Board members, I have to step away. I have a meeting with the law department, but Milton will be handling the movement for this case.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome. Please identify yourselves for the record, and I'll just remind you that the mic is at the computer, so when you're speaking, please try to be as close as you can to that and speak directly into the mic so that everyone can hear you. And if you would identify yourselves for the record, please.
I'm R.M. Mukhtar Curtis, the owner of 2031 Church Lane.
And my name is Ali Curtis. That's my dad.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
I'm so happy to hear that. Of course, yes.
Okay, thank you. Who has this matter for the city?
If the board pleases, this is Kareem Safedine for the city, and I will be calling Ms. Hike as a witness.
Is that someone who has not been sworn?
No, there is not.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you gave a different name, and that's why I was hesitating. Do you have numbers for the record?
Yes, the petitioner is questioning the period of January 7th, 2018 through September 10th, 2018. Principal amount of $21,531.54. There is $1,303.70 in penalties, totaling $22,835.30.
And what were those dates again? I think it was 1/7/18.
Yes.
To what?
Through September 10th to 2018.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Do you have any opening comments before we turn to the petitioner?
Yes, briefly, based on the city's review of the account, the petitioner is challenging 8 months worth of high usage readings starting in the winter of 2018 and continuing through September of that year. The total amount of usage challenged is 3,039 CCFs, averaging about 380 CCFs per month for 8 months. And I'm going to ask the board's leave to draw its attention to 2 periods not under challenge at this time. In I believe 2019 and 2022, which both have leaks starting in the wintertime with a leak rate of about 300 to 400 CCFs per month for the duration of the spike. The petitioner also asserts that a shutoff in May 2018 would have prevented the leak from continuing. But as the board knows, shutoffs can be reversed as a practical matter without city permission. And in any case, the fact is the readings are all actual and progressive. And as the board knows, meters cannot register any advance when no water is running through them.
Excuse me, I was muted. That completes your testimony before we turn to the petitioner, your introductory.
That completes the city's summary of the case.
Right, I meant to say introductory, not complete.
Understood.
Let's turn to the petitioner then. Please tell us why you're here and what it is you're looking for from this board.
I'm going to let
And remember to be speaking up so that we can all hear you.
Thank you for hearing the case. We're here to talk about, the 2031 Church Lane property in regards to the water bill. And, our request is that the bill be reduced. And that's why we're here today. And I'm happy to opine on the details and everything associated with what we're here for.
Well, that's what we're looking for from you, to tell us why you're here and what it is that you would like us to be aware of, and what, if any, requests you have for us in terms of changes.
Sure, thank you. So the bill right now, as of March, there's a March 10, 2023 bill. The bill is currently, the water bill is at $28,607.93. This is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom residential home it's in a row house community. My dad started to grow up in the house in 1952 and lived there until the mid to late 70s, and then came back and took ownership of the property in 1998 when his mom, my grandmother, passed away. The home has been was occupied by my dad as well as his ex-wife and 2 of his children. And then the home was vacated, and no one's lived in the home since December of 2015. And we have some electricity bills, if that's something that you'd like to, that can provide some evidence of that. During that time, since December of 2015, the water bills have been consistent until 2018, where there was a substantial spike from a $200 around approximately $200 bill, excluding any penalties, to an $8,000 bill. And so we haven't had anyone living in the home since December of 2015. And so our goal here is to request that the water bill be reduced.
A question for you: if no one's lived there, is somebody going in and doing cleaning or other work or something that they're using water, or just how? And you've never turned the water off in that time period, even though there was no one living there? I'm just curious and don't quite understand.
Yeah, nobody's been living there. There have been, like I said, my dad's ex-wife, my dad and his 2 kids, and his ex-wife's, some of her children. Many of them, they all live in the Philadelphia area. So during that time, since 2015, there have been some times where they've come, flush the toilet or come in and out of the house, but that hasn't happened over the last number of years. But no one was aware of this water issue really until September, October of 2018, and primarily because my dad and his ex-wife, they separated around December of 2015, and then my dad had a lot of the bills and mail and things like that forwarded to his ex-wife's address, and he didn't receive any of the notices and things like that until September, October of 2018, when they found out that there was a water issue.
Was anybody regularly going in just to check on the property to see if everything was okay?
No, we, you know, we have a, you know, my cousin, gosh, yeah, my cousin, my grandfather's son's son. They actually have a home, a row house that is directly connected to that home. And so he never saw any reason or issue to go inside the house or anything along those lines. It looked fine, kind of from the outside, so to speak. And the reason why we found out that, you know, part of the reason we needed that there was a water issue is because it's a row house and it's the second house in, because there's a convenience store on the corner. And then what's connected to the convenience store is my dad's property, and then all the row houses begin. And there was some water that was coming into the convenience store. And so the owners of the convenience store also notified, you know, whether it's my
When
dad's.
was that?
It must have been in, gosh, must have been at some period between 2018 and 2021 or 2022, sometime during that time period, unless Dad, you want to.
That's correct.
Yeah.
When we saw the notice that there was an over usage of water is when we called the water company.
And so did you go in and find a leak though? There was a leak in the.
There was, so my understanding and trying to put all the papers and everything together and trying to piece everything together is they came once my dad and his ex-wife got the mail and found out that these notices, they went over to the property, and there was someone from the city that came over in the September to October 2018 timeframe. And at that point, in terms of the aesthetics of the home, I think it looked okay, right? From the outside, it was fine. On the inside, was there any visible notices of water leakage, things like that?
Well, the water was turned off when we first.
Did you say the water was turned off?
Wait, I'm trying to make sure that's clear. On the inside, when we found the leak in September, October, we had to turn one faucet off. But concerning the house, yes, the first floor is messed up.
Did you get a plumber or anyone in to take care of that?
Well,
the reason there was a belief that the water was completely turned was
Believe the water was what? I'm sorry.
There was a belief that the water was turned off and no one was living there. And so I think what my dad is about to say is that there was a water shutoff valve in the home that you turned off, or?
Yeah, all that happened is that when we came in September, we saw that something was amiss with the water going into the washing machine, which was located in the kitchen. And we just turned that off. Everything was fine until that second.
That coupled with, I spoke to his ex-wife prior to this hearing, and she mentioned that the service person that came in, I want to say in September or the October timeframe of 2018, mentioned that the water she made an allegation that the guy said that the water was turned off from the outside, but apparently, at least according to the water usage bills, it doesn't seem like it was.
And when he's talking, his mom was my first wife.
Was somebody paying bills along the way in all those years from 2015 up until then? Was somebody paying water bills in that time, even though no one was in the house?
We'll let Attorney Kareem go first.
I believe that would be a more appropriate question to Ms. Hike during her direct when we discuss payment history, because of course the city has full record of all payments that would have been made on the
Okay.
account.
Yeah, okay, I was just asking them whether they were aware of anyone handling payments like that, and then certainly we can get into more detail when the city's testimony takes place.
Fine. We don't have anything to add. As a matter of fact, we're dependent on what she says.
I think, and I don't want to give you hearsay, because it's
Okay,
literally, they're just facts, but I could opine, but it's not facts.
I might be able to clarify a few matters with, by a brief cross-examination.
Okay.
Sure.
okay, go ahead.
So to be clear, Mr. Curtis, the elder, you own 2031 Church Lane, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
And it's a single-family row home, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you haven't lived there in a long time, right?
Oh, I haven't. Whew.
Yeah.
I left for college around in the 70s. Okay. And I
Yes, sir.
didn't return back until 2013.
Mhm. And for the record, you didn't have any tenants in the property starting December 2015, January 2016, correct?
No, except for my second wife and the children.
No, he's asking, it's from 2015.
Oh,
No,
when
December
the water,
2015.
yeah, no,
No.
sorry.
No, he's asking, did we have anyone like rent or sublet or anything along those
No,
lines?
no. See,
Well,
that's tough to
Were
me.
were there ever squatters in the property?
No, and someone called me to try to get me to persuade me to say that there were. But it's, first of all, it's impossible.
Dad, let me,
Okay,
we've never had anyone living in the home other than this is a family home. His mother owned it before. He grew up there since, like I said, 1952. Mom passed away. He took over the property, and then we lived in Michigan. Grew up in Michigan. He lived in Michigan. His ex-wife moved to Michigan when they got married, and then when they moved back to Philadelphia, they all moved into that home. And then he and his ex-wife separated.
Mhm.
And then once they moved out since 2015 of December, no one else has lived in that home. No one, no family, no friends, no acquaintances, no, hey, we need to just live in the house for a day or two or a week. There hasn't been anyone living there in any way, shape.
I suppose by squatter, I mean people living there without any authorization.
Well, that's also no, because we've had, we are fortunate in that, like I said, our cousin lives, I guess what that would be is on the row house that shares a wall with that house. So
Mhm.
we've been fortunate to have him there because he can check on the house, because you're always nervous sometimes in certain areas if it's vacant and nobody's living there if someone comes in. But we've had him, and so we haven't been aware of anyone living.
and it's even
Okay.
more than that to a certain extent. I grew up there. The old heads there watched the house.
In all those years, there was never an effort made to have the water officially turned off.
I think
correct?
I think that there was, we had the gentleman, like I said, my dad's ex-wife said that when they met the guy from the city in 2018, she made the allegation that he said that the water was shut off. Now, the bills say otherwise. And what I would say is the financial size of this water bill, I think, has caused my dad a lot of fear and stress, and so that has contributed to, and then COVID. So I would say a week turned into a month, turned into a year, and then COVID, a couple years, and we are kind of where we are.
But I have to
Okay,
make,
why don't we turn back to the
If-
city?
If I may,
Um,
yes, thank you.
I have to make
Um,
one.
So sir, I just want to ask you a few questions. That's all. You said, Mr. Curtis the Younger, you said, Ali, you said your name was?
Yes, Ali.
Okay. You said that there were electric bills showing no usage. Do you have them on your person or?
Yeah,
no?
they don't show zero. Yeah, I do. I have them. I have them right here.
Are they from the period from, what is it, January through December, September of 18?
I have. Yes, I have January of 2018 through however long you want. I have the entire year right here.
Okay, if I don't know how we get around, normally Melissa would pull this, but
Milton, can you get some of those bills and I guess scan them and send them, email them to the rest of us?
Is Milton available to,
yeah, he's right there.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
did you
so,
get those bills and get them sent over to the city and to the board members?
Sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
how many months? We don't need them all, just
Yeah.
2 or 3 months.
Maybe the first month, a month in the middle, and the last.
That
One,
sounds like a plan.
All right, so we're talking
So that would be
January,
from,
January of 2018, May of 2018, September of 2018.
Sounds
Yeah.
perfect to me.
Okay,
Because they usually have historical usage, if I remember my Pico bills.
yeah, they do. Milton, did you get that? We want his bills. He has,
As long as he has them together, I'm waiting for him to put them together now.
yeah,
okay,
what I have is and I got this from my sister. I think it's a printout it looks like from the electrical company of each month dating back
Oh, okay.
from January of 2016 all the way to April of 2022. But I can just give you 2 pages and that will be all of 2018.
that's
All
all.
right, yeah, all right, I'm coming to you now to pick that up.
And I'll
Thank
give
you.
you I can give you the first page just so that you can, if
yeah,
that.
he's
Yeah,
on
that
his
makes
way to
sense.
the room to get
Thank you.
a couple of samples there for us, and then he'll be sending them to the city and to the petitioner, the board members.
Um,
I would like for you really to take all the way up to 2022 because you did turn off the water last year.
Well, as I understand it, the time period that's before this board is
Yes.
from 1/7/18 to 9/10/18. So
Okay.
that's specifically what we need to look at
Okay.
now.
No problem.
If I may, once the board, and no matter what the board does, the board will direct you to make payment agreements,
Right.
payment arrangements with me fundamentally. And, I'll be able to look at anything that occurred afterwards,
Okay.
after the 2018 period.
Okay.
You may
Uh,
want to deal directly with the city in terms of making arrangements on those other periods. Or you may need to come back and petition the board for some other period of time if that becomes something that would be helpful to you.
Well, to be very
Okay.
frank with you, up until now,
Okay.
I'm grateful for the fairness that you're presenting.
Right now, we're directed to what's in your petition.
So while
That
we're
doesn't mean it
waiting-
can't go beyond that at a later date.
So Nancy, while we're waiting for Milton, maybe Mr. Safedine can move on and we can cover.
I
some-
I have one more question for.
Okay, fine.
the Curtises.
I didn't realize you had another question, or we could.
Just one, or maybe a chain of questions depending on the responses. If I understand your earlier testimony, you visited the property in September of 2018?
No, I did.
Okay, you did, okay,
With my second ex-wife,
I
unfortunately.
see. And at that time you saw, if I understand you correctly, the exterior was fine, but you saw evidence of water damage in the interior?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so there's evidence of a leak in the property.
Excuse me for a second. I can't
No.
even- Samantha,
Okay.
have
Sorry,
what?
someone's coming in the room.
He left his glasses on the chair?
No, that's a glass.
Mr. Runsing?
Sorry, someone came into our room.
Probably the previous petitioner.
Sorry.
So what was the question? Did we answer it?
I was just confirming. So there was evidence of a leak in the property when you came in September 2018.
Exactly, we just,
That's all I needed to know. Thank you very
Hey.
much, sir.
At that time, did you get someone in there to take care of that leak?
it was an easy leak. We just had to turn the valve.
Okay. Okay, but that was really the question. Something was done to prevent that from going forward.
Yes.
And that occurred in September of 2018.
I'm not
The
sure of
only
the
thing
exact dates. Maybe you guys know.
But the only thing I would say to that though is there's a notice as of February of 22 that the water was completely shut off due to a leak on a water supply pipe and a vacant broken pipe. So
And what
Okay.
was that date again?
that was February of 22, February 6th,
Okay.
2022.
Those notices usually go out shortly before or shortly after the work occurs, so that's really not relevant to our case, I don't think.
Okay.
City,
That
Great.
concludes my cross. And I thank the petitioners for their honest answers.
Kareem, what is your email address?
It's kareem.saifedean@phila.gov.
Okay.
My name is, do you need me to spell it or can you read it off?
No,
the screen?
I can read it. I'm good.
Thank you.
For some reason, it didn't automatically come up.
It's been doing that lately. I don't get it. Anyway, I'd like to briefly do my directive, Ms. Hike, to get some basic
Please,
information now.
please go ahead.
So Ms. Hike, have you had a chance to review this customer's account?
Yes,
And what kind of property is 2031 Church Lane?
it's a residential property, single family.
And who owns it?
The petitioner, Mr. Curtis Jr.
Okay. And how do you know?
The account provides us with this information.
And where are bills being sent for this account?
To an off-site address.
And has there been any actual usage in this property for the last 6 months?
Yes. Zero usage, but it's actual.
Oh, okay. So actual reads 0 usage.
Yes.
What charges appeared on the bill for this property during the period January 7th, 2018 through September 12th, 2018?
Stormwater service and usage.
Are all of the usage readings progressive?
Yes,
Are they actual or estimated?
actual.
Okay. Did technicians perform any meter work at this property between January 7th, 2018 and September 12th, 2018?
No,
Has there been any meter work at the property since September 12th, 2018?
no.
Could you please briefly describe the payment history on the account?
They were paying every few months before the spike, and they pay occasionally after that. They started to pay occasionally.
Has there been any usage at the property since September in 2018?
Yes.
When and how much?
There's usage on February
Can you
5th.
speak up just a little bit more?
Yeah, there's usage on February 5th, 2019, in the amount of 21,200 cubic feet of water. There's usage on February 3rd, 2022, in the amount of 4,800 cubic feet of water usage. And there is usage on March 5th, 2022. And the amount of usage is 33,500 cubic feet.
Thank you.
Water usage for that month.
I'm just going to show, I'm going to briefly share my screen, going to the consolidated city exhibits, very last page of the consolidated city exhibits that I submitted yesterday. And this is not so much evidence as it is a visual aid. These are a lot more effective in person, but I would like to show it anyway. And as you can see, if the board can see, there is a spike here, and this is the period under dispute.
Kareem, you're not sharing.
You're not
the screen.
sharing. We don't
Oh,
see
am I not
you.
sharing it? Okay.
No.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to hit share. Can everyone see me sharing now?
Not yet. It says it's starting.
Okay, all right, we're good, Okay, so as I hope everyone can see this. This is all usage in the property since April of 2017. And then this is the spike here that's under dispute. And as you can see, there are two smaller spikes here. But as you can see, like other than this massive initial spike here, which may actually represent several months of usage because we were not getting actual reads for a period. It's not that much higher. So there's I'm going to stop my share. I don't think it's out of necessarily that whatever easy leak the Curtis has found seems like a reasonable explanation. And the city, unless, and kind of as a conclusion, the city would simply ask that the actual nature of the readings be respected. But I do expect to be able to come to some kind of agreement with the Curtises, no matter how the board rules.
Thank you.
And
Is that the end of your case, Mr. Safety?
That is the end of the city's case. If the Curtises have any questions of Ms. Hike, of course, they're free to ask them.
I have a question. So I saw that on the chart, you mentioned that that could have been, the spike could have been a result of several months, but at least on the bill that I'm looking at, it looks like that spike was a result of a 30-day period. Because
If I might, I'm going to go to
No,
and Ms.
that
Hike.
might be something, Ms. Sabian, that those might be discussions offline.
Okay, we
Yes.
don't have any more questions for Ms. Hike unless my dad does.
Okay. I think that, yeah, I think that after we wrap up, there might be an opportunity to really go in and have them show you all of that
Yes.
information.
And just like we'll discuss this offline once the board is in session.
Thank you.
is there anything that we need to note in the record from the material that was handed out to us relative to the electric service at the property during the time we have that? And I didn't know whether there was anything that either the city or the petitioner wanted to put into the record regarding it.
I would just say that the city is not going to dispute that these are genuine PICO records.
Okay,
Then we can just go back, Nancy, I think.
okay. I just wanted to make sure if there was anything since we got those charts. Okay, the city's going to step aside to consider a decision.
No,
Yes. As I was saying, I'm more than happy to make an agreement with you. You'll just and you can contact me by email or phone, or make an agreement or make an appointment to come visit me. I'm in the office in my office on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So once the board makes its decision and an adjusted bill, if any, has been issued, you'll be able to speak to me, and I'll give you my contact information.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Very grateful. I'm very grateful for this. Appears to be fairness of the board. I really am.
That can be very fair. By the way, whereabouts in Michigan were you living? I'm from that area as well.
Ann Arbor. I'm a University of Michigan grad.
So is my mother and both of my siblings.
Well, they know what's happening.
I went to Michigan State.
Okay, I don't have any qualms against that either.
It's always good to see Michigan people.
I'm telling you, man, I think that, let's say, the spiritual reason for me going out there for my graduate degrees is because the children can live in an atmosphere where you don't have to worry.
That's true.
I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
My
sister's.
Makes Philadelphia. It looks like kindergarten next to Philadelphia.
Yeah. My sister still lives out in Ann Arbor. I'm going to her wedding in September.
Great. Well, I was pretty well known. I was the assistant out there.
Oh, okay.
So they might know me.
Very well.
But it's good. Well, it's good you have somebody to vouch for me.
Absolutely.
Serious. I really love the Michigan areas that I was in, Ann Arbor, and then I was a chaplain for the Federal Bureau of Prisons in Milan, which is basically
okay. Yes.
where you can walk out the house and see the cows.
That's exactly what it's like.
I loved it. I loved it. I'm trying to keep my.
And they're not.
We didn't hear you, sir.
Everybody should be back, but they're not. The board is not back.
We're waiting on, I guess, Paula and Nancy.
Here we go.
Okay, perfect.
Now we're just waiting on Nancy and Paula.
Well, I exited myself out the room. Did you close out the breakout room?
Yeah, I
Hold on.
closed out the breakout room.
1 second. Let me.
Here we go.
All right, we did it.
Okay, are we all back now?
Yes.
Okay, the board's reached a decision. It's our decision to abate the penalty. We have determined that we should not deny the entire petition, but we will abate the penalty. You'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision. Both sides do have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of our letter. But I'm going to assume for the moment that neither side's going to choose to appeal. And if that proves to be the case, then you'll be able to work with the city and enter into payment arrangements based on what remains on the record.
Paula Weiss, I concur.
Dominic Ward, I concur.
And Nancy Cameron, I concur as well. You'll have an opportunity to ask any questions or that along the way, but the first thing will be that you'll get that letter from us. It'll be probably a week or two until that letter arrives. And then you go from there in terms of whether you're going to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas or just work with the city in terms of entering into payment arrangements for the outstanding amounts that are due in LA.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What abate the penalty? What's the penalty is?
The penalty amount that was read into the record earlier for that time period between 1/7/18 and 9/10/18, which is the appeal period, was $1,303.70, if I wrote it down correctly.
Correct.
And if the Curtis is, it's because you've been, forthright and straightforward with us, and you proceeded as you should, I would be happy to abate a little bit more of the penalty of some of the post-petition penalty as part of any agreement.
But the period that we were looking at that was on the record for today's hearing was what I just read into the record.
That is correct.
That's what we acted upon. If in the course of discussion and all on it, the city wants to address other periods, that is your prerogative. Otherwise, you may be directing the petitioner to come back to this board to appeal some other period of concern.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions remaining?
The letter that you'll be sending, what address will that be?
Okay, do we know what?
Milton, hold on. Milton,
Yes.
what address do we have of record here for the letter, decision letter?
Okay, 1 second. Address of record is 36 South of Fargot Street, Philadelphia, 19139.
Is that the correct address?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you very
Milton.
much. And thank you for coming in today. And unless there's something I'm unaware of, this is the last item on our agenda. And so this hearing is adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay.
very much. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you all.
everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Mr. Curtis, do you have my contact information?
I
No, I
would
don't.
appreciate if you,
Milton, would you be able to give them my phone number and email address?
1 second, I can give them your email address. Let me get some paper so that I can.
I give you my email address?
No,
You send it to us?
we got it. I got it. I can take it.
Oh, go ahead. They said they can take it. Go ahead, Kareem.
Okay, so my phone number is 215.
Yep.
686
Mhm.
0505.
Okay.
My email address, and just so you know, I work from home most days, but Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm in the office. That's when I have access to the phone.
Okay.
My email address is my first name dot my last name at phila.gov. Can you see my first and last name on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
You said at phila.gov?
.gov, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
You saw that, right?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
All right, everyone have a good week.
Thank you all. Goodbye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.